we're going to do positions 2 and 5. And so we've used this stretching idea. Maybe your hands are buzzing away. So we borrow this idea of the arms really stretched open. But we don't overuse it here because this is not a stretch exercise. This is, Zhan Zhuang is it's a connecting exercise, if you like. It's about connecting the body together so that we get, there is a tensegrity in the body, which we're going to look at as well when we get to the Tai Chi form today, one particular move we're going to look at. So the tensegrity means that integrated tension is about how one bit must help the other bit. All the bits work together in order to help each other, therefore making the sum, no, the whole greater than the sum of the parts. Right, so here we go. So let's just do the position 1 as well, which isn't 0, and doing nothing. So hang your arms by your sides, just let them go. So we've done plenty of stuff with the arms. Now is the chance to let them relax completely. And you feel as though the muscles are all undoing and getting longer, as though your fingers are gradually reaching towards the ground, simply because of the weight of them. Now check where your weight is on your feet. You don't want it on the ball or the heel, but it will inevitably go forwards and backwards over those 2 points, which it should do. So your body's upright, your head's floating on top of your shoulders. Again, we'll look at that a little bit later because it's a little bit more than that. Okay, so we can go pretty much straight into position 2, which is actually the same as the second position in the stretch exercise, but without that massive stretch going on. So pelvic tilt, let your knees bend, and as they do, keep your shoulders settled into the shoulder socket and just lift the arms up ahead. Now, what you can do here is when you breathe in, you feel as though the bones in your palms are expanding and your fingers are getting longer. It's quite a good idea to feel as if the joints of the fingers are going to bridge the gap from here to here, as if your fingers are trying to do that, but you don't move. So you're in this position here, pelvic tilted, very gently. Don't overdo the pelvic tilt. And you have a feeling of a very gentle stretch forwards with the wrists, unlike the really strong one that we were doing in the stretch exercise. But not only does this stretch forwards very, very gently, it feels like the middle of your back is stretching backwards to counterbalance, but you're not stretching. So all you are is aware of how the tension, I'm using the word tension in the sense of tensegrity, how the tension from here and your back are balancing each other. It's like two halves of a balloon. You know, if you've got a balloon, you can't have one half of the balloon collapsed and the other half blown up, you know, because of the nature of a balloon. So this is the same with our body. We need the feeling of the backs of the wrists expanding. Let me sit down a little bit more. I prefer it's a little lower than I was doing. So if your shoulders are relaxed, and that stretch exercise incidentally, which we did previously, really helps the Zhan Zhuang type movement. So if your arms are in the right place, if your shoulders are relaxed, and you find that the previous stretch exercise helps holding the hands up, it's almost like the muscles are no longer involved. That's the idea behind this. Okay, we need to look a little bit at the pelvic tilt at the same time. So your pelvic tilt, you do not force it. So what you ultimately need with the pelvic tilt, because you're lifting up here very gently, and therefore your pelvis, your bum's tucking underneath, the lower spine is going to open out slightly. We need the spine, the vertebrae, to feel like they're doing that. But if you tense, if your back is tense, it can't do it. So you need to completely relax the buttock muscles and the muscles around your kidney area and in the small of your back. See if you can soften your back as much as possible. Now, those of you who have problems with your legs, strength-wise or um, uh, physical problems with the legs, this is such a good exercise to practice. I'm going to, at some point, take you through various other postures you can use, but for the moment, stay there, don't stand up, and just very gently lower the hands to the fifth position. And so we've got the same feeling of the fingers trying to join across the middle here. Much easier on the arms. Yeah, about 45 degrees away from your body. So this will be 90, this is 45, this will be back to 0. About 45 there. I feel like my fingers and my palms, as I breathe in, my bones are opening. And when I breathe out, I'm just hanging the muscle in the bones, in the palms. Every time I breathe in, I feel like the joints in my fingers are getting longer and longer, as if the gap between all 15 joints on each hand, 3 per finger, as if those joints are widening very slightly, and I'm undoing any tension within those 15 joints per hand. So it's almost like the gap in the fingers, just pick one finger and try it out. You know, pick your index fingers, for example. You may be able to do them both at the same time. It's because it's a feeling. So you feel the index fingers. It's interesting, isn't it? Because if you try and think about your index fingers, you can't. You can only think of one at a time. But if you feel your index fingers, you can feel them both at the same time. There becomes a connection between the two. And so that's the difference between the important difference between feeling and thinking here. Feeling allows you to take on board your entire body in one shot. Thinking about your body, it's impossible to think it all in one shot. Good. And just bring your hands back down. If you need to stretch your legs out, then back to your hands on your kidneys and just lift. Make sure you bend the foot so the calf stretches, so the uh, quads here stretch out.